Hi everyone, welcome back. The more videos I make on any particular topic for maths, the more videos I realise I need to make. So once you get the hang of being able to do, or get used to being able to use addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, then we do other things like put it with a index or order of operations. But here they are with the indices. First one, going to look at what does that 2 up here mean? It means write whatever's in the bracket multiplied by itself. Let's look at the words. Whatever's in the bracket multiplied by itself. So I can write what's in the bracket multiplied by itself. So let's have a look. I actually talk about the 2 is sitting in this question on everything. Now I'm not going to go right through all the details of what 2 times minus 2 times minus 2 is. You can go back to previous videos. You can look at it and go 2 2s are 4. All my brain does is there's 2 negatives and the 2 negatives become a positive. Haven't done it for a while, but I do this in front of classes all the time. At 2 negatives, it's like they're attracted to each other and they go, and they're positive. I know it probably looks stupid, but it works for people's brains. 2 negatives become a positive when we are multiplying and when we are dividing. So let's have a look on me. Oh, the other thing is when they're right next to each other. So if I had those 2 negatives and they're right next to each other, they get together. Let's have a look what it means then. So those 2 negatives become a positive and you don't have to write positive 4. This and this are radically different and it mucks people's brains up. It's almost like I do talk about the peekaboo method. Let's cover over the minus 2 like it doesn't exist, like I'm talking to a baby and I'm covering things over. So that means 2 times 2 because the 2 is sitting on, it's controlling, it has the control over that 2. In this case, it does not have the control over the negative. But in this case, it does have the control over the negative. So it's a negative 2 times 2. So if you want to cover it over, you can just go 2 2s are 4. And you can go, oh look, it's got a negative. Okay, and I talk about 1 negative, 1 leftover negative. It's got none to match up with, so it stays a negative. So just a repeat of it, a couple of quick ones. That 2 controls the negative, so it's a negative 3 by negative 3. And 2 negatives make a positive. Don't have to write positive 9, but you can if you want to. This 2 does not control the negative. So I feel like saying, little note here, this controls the negative. This one doesn't. Maybe I'll just put doesn't. Doesn't control the negative. So this is just a 3 times 3 and it's got a negative. So 1 lonesome negative stays a negative. Bit different if you're adding and subtracting, you gotta be careful. 3 3s are 9. You can see the difference in the answers. What happens if you've got a 3 there? The rule is whatever's inside, whatever it's sitting on, whatever it's controlling, you have to write it 3 times. So I'm just gonna write this one. 1, twice, 3 times, and it actually means multiply by itself. 1, 2, 3 times. So right back in the beginning, that's all they made up. It's a simple index rule, multiplied by itself. That's 3 times, whereas this one will be 4 times. I can do it all in one go. I can go 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8. You can just ignore the negatives when you're multiplying. And the 3 negatives, it's almost like you've got 2 this way and 1 that way. It's like they'll match up, but there's still 1 left over. So it's always about, is there 1 left over? In this case, there will be 1 left over, so it's a negative 8. This one means write it 4 times, once, twice, 3, 4, and if you look at this one here, those 2 will become a positive and those 2 will become a positive, so you can't have a negative answer. It ends up being a positive answer. 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8, 8 2s are 16. By the way, really good, I keep nagging about it and reminding people, if you can remember the numbers 2, when you double it's 4, when you double it 8, double it's 16. Not talking about your times tables, just talk about doubling. Really good if you get used to 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. You could keep going. I've had quite young grandchildren learning them. Sometimes I wasn't teaching the grandchild, I was teaching older grandchildren and the younger ones in the car picked it up. Good time to learn them is in the car. It's a lot of fun. So let's have a look at what this means here. Some of you will just look at this. Let's go the shortcut way. Minus 3 times a minus 3 will be 3 3s are 9 and the 2 negatives make a positive. So you just get the hang of it and people start to make it more complicated. This one here, 2 2s are 4 and the 2 negatives make a positive. So you could look at it pretty quickly and just go, that's what it is. Some people might need me to slow down and show the whole thing and say that this is going to be minus 3 times minus 3 plus minus 2 times minus 2. And you can see this little bit here gets a little bit more confusing. So I'm going to look at that in further videos. So for the moment, I'm just going to do the short way. So this means minus 4 times itself. I could go to the side actually and go minus 4 times minus 4, and that's 16, and the two negatives make a positive. Then I can look at this part here and go, well, that's minus 1 times minus 1. So then the two minuses make a plus, and the 1 times 1 is a 1. So here's the interesting part. That becomes a subtraction there. So even though we're turning these negatives into a positive, it still has a subtraction on the outside. One last one, video's getting too long. So I could write it, maybe for once I'll write it out in full. Minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3. Subtract minus 2 times minus 2. And that gets too much for people's brains. Let's say I didn't do that for a moment, and I just said 3 3s are 9, and 9 3s are 27. Another set of numbers good to learn in the car. You can drive along in the car and you can just go 3, 9, 27. After that, most students struggle, but after a little while they go, it's just 81, and they get the numbers further. So 3 3s are 9, 9 3s are 27. And then you go, wait a minute, I've got 1, 2, 3 negatives. This comes to BIMDAS. This was really the next video, or leading into the next video, that we do the multiplication first. It's almost like a little bit of what's coming. Do that answer first, and that answer is minus 27, because there's those two will pair up, and this one's left over, so it stays a negative. Could look at this as well. You can go 2 2s are 4, and those two negatives will pair up, so that'll be a positive, so you don't have to write the positive. But out here, it's got another one that says subtract. So just be careful, that's just a subtract there. And some people will then struggle with minus 27 minus 4. Oh, I think if I borrowed $27 off you and I borrowed 4, I think most of you would figure out. You'd probably go minus 27, you go minus 28, minus 29, minus 30, minus 31. So a lot of you can get around with that, just as long as you're careful. Oh, that's enough of that. Another video is coming up with order of operations. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying it, just tell your friends.